Hello, driving intelligence community. Whenever I do projects on my Generation F150 or any of my vehicles for that matter, like the Cadillac or the Mustang that's back in the corner there, or my Harley Davidson F150, I'm always looking for ways to further customize it, especially with paint. Any part I take off that hasn't, showing some signs of rust, I like to use some paint on it to make sure that it looks good and it stays, I guess, resilient to the elements much longer. Well, in this case, I was doing a radiator change, which is an upcoming video, and I was also cleaning up my condenser for my air conditioning to make sure it's more performance-oriented. And while I was doing that, I thought, why not do some work on the grill? So let's take a look at what I've got going on. As I mentioned, I wanted to clean the condenser, and I will get you a video about that sometime in the near future on a different vehicle, but I also did it on this Generation F150. You can actually see where I cleaned it. Some of this here is because of the blocking of what's going on with the framing here. But this thing was absolutely filthy and the dirt that came off was incredible. So like I said, stay tuned for that video. But I had to take off this whole front fascia to effectively get to that condenser coil. And what I decided to do was to paint the grill. Now, I wanted to really customize it, not just paint it. It was showing some real signs of oxidation. So I had to sand this whole thing, and you talk about a monotonous project. It was definitely monotonous. Let me show you what I used. I'm gonna link these products in the description of this video. Don't forget that thumbs up while you're down there. I was trying to look for a good solution to sanding, and I thought a drill motor with a good sanding pad would work well, and I wanted something that was flexible and not gonna cause any damage to the plastic. Found these on Amazon. Huge pack, relatively cheap, actually very cheap. I'll link these, as I mentioned, in the description of the video. And I went through every one of these honeycomb holes with that drill motor. I used some regular sandpaper for the perimeter. And then once all that was done, I decreased it with some dish soap that really gets all the grease off, cleans it off, make sure it's thoroughly rinsed. And then it's prepped for paint. So I really wanted it to pop, and I also wanted it to match the tow hooks, as you can see down here. So I got myself some satin red for the perimeter. Got myself some satin black for the center section. I didn't want it to be too shiny. And then I got a nice clear, the satin clear enamel, so that it would protect the paint from UV, because the biggest problem I had when I was working on this was all the oxidation on there. All right, so I used the string to hold it up, and then I painted the red first all the way around the perimeter. I didn't care about what I got on the honeycomb. I just wanted to make sure I got the perimeter completely coated all on the edge. And then I took that painter's tape and I put the painter's tape along the edge where I wanted to make the red go a certain amount of depth into the grill. Wrapped it obviously around all the way, and then I painted everything with the satin black. And of course, it takes a lot of paint because you got to make sure you get into all those holes. I did that. I think it looks fantastic. But it's gotten too cold for me to put the clear on, so that's the final step before I reinstall it. But I think that looks pretty good. I think it's gonna look fantastic on the truck. Let me know what you think. Definitely, I think it's a thumbs up. I can't wait to get it on. Again, it's a little too cold right now, but stay tuned for this video. I'll show this sometime in the future, but also to stay tuned for the condenser cleaning and the new radiator installation. And that radiator is from SVE, just so you know, heads up. I'll see you next time on Driving Intelligence.